Fish and golf. Sehr gut. Wie geht's es Ihnen? I see Trish, good morning, and Ma, good morning. I'm getting audio feedback from Rumble. Let's fix that before we get any further down the road. Holy shit, I see Unverified Bear and Jen DF both managed to get on and watch live this morning. I know you two in particular try to watch as often as you can and often leave comments that say things like, oh crap, I missed the live show again. And it really does warm my heart when you guys make it in. And Terrence Drew Daniels. Drew, good morning, sunshine. Thanks for joining us. So let's do this. Good morning. So I just noticed something. This is off the topic rather, but I'm looking at the metrics over here, and Rumble has got me confused. There's a red tag that says 2 watching now, but then there's an eyeball that seems to suggest that there's 84 watching now. And then when I pop over to the actual just regular content where this is, it shows that this episode, that, as you all clearly noticed, went live just now, has had 325 views in the 12 minutes since I initially published it. So, hey, I don't know if we're doing something right or if Rumble's getting something wrong, but I'll take it. I like numbers. Speaking of numbers, we are going to talk about some stuff by the numbers this morning. I'm sure you've all at least heard about the Jason Aldean song that I have explained to Shay many times that we do the live show at this time. So I'm gonna send him a link and say, yo, just watch the show, dummy. So anyway, by the numbers, we have learned that the boycotts are actually working. Oh, real quick, Danny says, I think the eyeball is how many times it's been viewed, not live viewers. See, Danny, that's what I thought too, but like I said, over on the my content side, it says 325 views. So the eyeball doesn't jive with that. I'm not sure how that maths. And frankly, I'm good. I just thought it was interesting that the numbers were good but not matchy. So anyway, we know the boycotts work. Okay. we got thrown off of YouTube for like a week at the beginning of Pride Month because I did a show where I said, hey, during Pride Month, I want you to boycott everything, right? Make smart choices and hell, boycott things that aren't even woke. Let's just go ahead and make Pride Month. Let's just go ahead and make June Fiscal Responsibility Month. Don't buy shit you don't need. And you'll find that the less shit you don't need that you waste your money on, the more the woke companies will suffer just generally. Because one of the problems with boycotts, as far as it goes from the conservative side, as a conservative, there is a very short list of reasonable alternatives to the woke crap. And you know, we're going to talk this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about Disney, Target, CMT, and of course, Bud Light. Now, I would like to say that it looks like Bud Light has pretty much suffered the damage it's going to suffer, but the damage that it has suffered has been devastating. And maybe that's enough, but we still haven't heard Bud Light come out with an apology for what it did. And to be very clear, the thing that Bud Light did, and this ties back around to, this is going to tie back around to CMT with Jason Aldean and The Sound of Freedom, and we're going to talk about Angel Studios a little bit in this. The thing that Bud Light did was not offend conservatives by putting a rainbow flag on their cans. The thing that Bud Light did was explicitly and directly insult its base consumer market by entering into business with a professional child groomer. I say that advisedly. Dylan Mulvaney's primary audience is children roughly between the ages of 10 and 16. Those are demographically, those are the people that consume Dylan's content. By using that market, which is artificially inflated by a pro-groomer algorithm, especially on TikTok, Dylan Mulvaney has attempted to capitalize on having that market base to make brand deals. And he's made several brand deals. Bud Light, I don't want to say which makeup companies because I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I'm not familiar with the individual companies, and I don't want to accuse one incorrectly, but he made deals with some makeup companies, some fashion companies to model women's clothes, women's products, and I believe tampon as well, right? And I'm sorry, sweetheart. Where are you going to put that? I mean, I'm just saying. And Bud Light's, the marketeer spokeswoman with the hard to pronounce last name that I'm not even going to try to remember, was very explicit when she did an interview talking about the choice to partner with Dylan Mulvaney, in that her objective was to replace the existing customer base of frat boys and rednecks with a younger drinker. Couple things here. When you say younger drinker, and you're talking about Dylan Mulvaney's audience, by the numbers, what you're talking about is people not just under the age of majority, not just under the legal drinking age, but under the age of majority. You're talking about people who, on average, are between the ages of 10 and 16. So when she says younger drinker, she is targeting children who I guess in her defense, we could say at least they're not going to be drunk driving. But she's targeting children to get them interested in drinking alcohol. So that when they turn 21 and they start buying their own alcohol, instead of, trading a bottle of modeling glue for sniffing to the local homeless guy so he'll go buy it for you. So that when they come of age and they're buying their own alcohol, they're already in the habit of drinking Bud Light because Dylan Mulvaney groomed them to. And that's what the upset was about. And in all these various cases where you see conservatives getting upset, it's conservative parents, because we were mostly on board, right? Most conservatives were very on board through the 90s for the whole live and let live thing, right? It got enough popular support where we, gay marriage, gay rights, et cetera, are like, hey, you know what? Two dudes want to do dudes, and they're not bothering me. Not my business, not my problem. Cool. Do what you do. I gave several public speeches on the matter where my contention was that the subject of gay marriage was not one that the Constitution had enumerated authority to govern, or that was of substantial public interest to justify the expenditure of tax dollars on congressional and litigatory debate. I was neither anti nor pro. But then Obergefell happened. And it was like a switch was flipped. And suddenly it was time to trans everybody and actively support child trafficking. Because let's be very clear, that's what grooming is for. Child traffickers, pedophiles, the people who want to steal your children and sell them, they need those children first to be sexualized and to already be thinking about sexuality. That's why you've got teachers who are handing books like This Book is Gay to 6 and 7 year olds and having them read the instruction manual in the book on how to use Grindr, a dating app, to engage in illicit material, illicit activity, right? That's why you're now seeing the UN push a resolution that supports absolutely all quote unquote gender affirming care without exception. And I shit you not, this is from the UN, that some children can consent to romantic relationships with adults. That's psychotic. When the next general election comes around, no matter who loses to Donald Trump in the primary, his opponent in the general will be an advocate for child trafficking and for grooming. A clear recent example just from the last couple days, California to fine school district $1.5 million over rejecting Harvey Milk textbook materials. California Governor Gavin Newsom said the state has levied a $1.5 million fine against the Temecula Valley School District. By the way, how was the sound when I transitioned to that screen there? Let me know in the comments, please, because I think I fixed it, but I'm not sure. California Governor Gavin Newsom said the state has levied a $1.5 million fine against the Temecula Valley School District after it refused to carry a textbook that's teaching materials contain a reference to the late gay politician Harvey Milk. One of the school board members had objected to the reference, calling Milk a pedophile during a school board meeting earlier this year. Excellent. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the feedback there, because it's one of those things. Cameron's been busy as a squirrel trying to shed a pineapple. It's been hard to do tech calls. So I had to I think I fixed it and guess. So Harvey Milk is credited as being the first openly gay politician, elected official. And he was assassinated. Now, the assassination, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but Harvey Milk appears to have been a wanton pedophile. He was accused, although I believe never convicted, of the rape of several small boys, and was assassinated in connection with those accusations. Which is to say that it is possible that justice was never served, and the apparent evidence may have been spurious. Who knows? But that Harvey Milk was a politician and a homosexual. At that level of office, we see a lot of sociopaths. And we see a lot of, well, I've got money and power, what else can I get? And that turns into some kind of extraordinary degeneracy. And it was just called Milk, that's right. So Gavin Newsom wants that to be taught about in schools. I would also caution, or in the same breath probably point out that let's not forget the same people that want your children studying about Harvey Milk are the ones trying to hand your children copies of the book Genderqueer, which is essentially a graphic novel on transgenderism that is being handed to young children and depicts lesbians filleting pseudophili and all sort of other bizarre and demented material, as well as, like I mentioned before, This Book is Gay, which offers explicit instructions for children to engage in clandestine, illicit activities with adults. So take that together. Let's take those though and couple them against what's happening with a few other properties that is of interest. So we've already covered that Bud Light continues to be suffering a sustained decline in sales 2 months since the beer brand sparked backlash. This article's from about almost a month ago. And I mean, Bud Light got absolutely trounced. Now there's the whole thing going on with the song Try That in a Small Town, Jason Aldean, and CMT is distancing themselves. And now we have this article from just a day or three ago. Financial expert warns CMT could become the new Bud Light after pulling Try That in a Small Town video. There are a number of different things that historians will be able to glean from the autopsy of Bud Light's disastrous decision to work with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. For instance, why was the Bud Light boycott so much more effective than the Target boycott after the retail titan was blasted for overly aggressive LGBT campaign targeting children? After all, Bud Light continues to take a beating in the zeitgeist, while Target has largely skittered back into the shadows. I can actually answer that one for you real quick. Target is one of those great examples where, as a conservative, like, you still have to buy diapers somewhere. And I don't know about you guys, but where I live, I've got 2 Walmarts and a Target that are relatively close, but it just happens that there's a super inconvenient, always crowded, jammed bridge between me and one of the Walmarts, and if I want to not shop at Target for the little things that I need to be able to just run in and grab at the store, choosing to boycott Target sometimes means I have to allot an additional 45 minutes to an hour to make it over to the Walmart and back, depending on the time of day with the frickin' log jam that is the bridge over I-20 on 138. And I know, Pitt Danny, I can take the back road and go up around over the railroad, but it's a bit of a pain in the ass when it's, I can do the same thing in 15 or 20 minutes, hitting the Target right up the street on the left. And it is not lost on me that it's amusing that from my house, Target is on the left in every sense of the word. But that is the point. When you talk about Bud Light, there are a lot of conservative choices. There are a lot of beers, not least of which Yuengling, the oldest brewery in the country, apparently. Yuengling has been doing yeoman's work trying to take advantage of. Yes, Dad, I know the Browns Bridge one, but that misses the point of the alternatives. Yuengling's been doing yeoman's work trying to take advantage, and quite successfully taking advantage of Bud Light's injuries. And, I mean, Yuengling tore a page right out of Sun Tzu and said, never interrupt the enemy when he's making a mistake. Attack him when he's weak. If he backs himself into a corner, take advantage of his situation, and don't kill everybody because you'll need slaves and provisions. Gotta love you some Sun Tzu. So, all that happening at the same time, I've got a meme, since it is Meme War Monday, and keep in mind what we're talking about this morning. This is all the meme war. The boycott on Bud Light, the boycotts, all that is part of the meme war, because what the meme war is a war of psychological warfare between two ideologically distinct factions. The left and the right. And so you look at this. The left boycotted a song and made it a #1 hit. The right boycotted a beer and inflicted a $30 billion hit to the company. I pointed this out, the $30 billion hit to the company, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Whoopi Goldberg came out and made a comment, and she was talking about the Bud Light thing, and she said, y'all CEOs, y'all need to be afraid of us, not these right-wing nut jobs, something to that effect. And I pointed out, okay, Whoopi, let's take a moment. Let's look at who the us is in your reference there. You're referring to leftists, and in particular the militarized branch of the leftists, which is your BLM, your BLM activists, your Antifa guys, your Fight Cop City guys, Planned Parenthood, and the DNC. So the militarized, violent left, they went on a rampaging riot for most of a flippin' year. Took territory, conducted an actual on-the-ground fighting insurrection war against the United States of America, where they established command outposts that they referred to as autonomous zones. Let me tell you something. It's an autonomous zone. You're inside of a sovereign territory. You set up a perimeter defense and declared the autonomous command of physical ground inside of a sovereign nation against the interests of that nation with explicit demands. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been to war. And when you're in a war, like in Afghanistan, you have command outposts, and you go from one to the other in armed caravans for a reason. because you are in hostile territory. You're in hostile territory because you're conducting a war. What BLM and the like did during the 2020 Summer of Love riots is they conducted an all-out war against the United States of America. They did it poorly, and they fell apart on their own without actually being defeated by a military as they should have been. As soon as they started setting up autonomous zones, at a bare minimum, the active duty army should have been deployed to eradicate those zones. I don't mean kill everybody, I mean shut down the zones. And throughout all of that, they did something between $3 and $6 billion in damage by burning down private properties and federal buildings. Mobilized, well-funded, moving with the intent to cause damage and harm, the left's militarized wing did somewhere between $3 and $6 billion in damage to the U.S. economy. We had a problem. And all we did was not buy your garbage product anymore. And the result was $30 billion in losses for Bud Light. It was hundreds of billions of dollars of losses for Disney. And as a result there, Disney is sucking hind tits so hard that Bob Iger preps Disney for yard sale, could sell to Apple. This is from the beginning of earlier this month. Disney's Black Mirror machine lets them own actors' bodies forever. Disney, a bastion of diverse content. Disney's been sucking hard for a hot minute, right? We're barely 15 years past Disney's last bankruptcy scare, and what they did is instead of producing more product to earn more capital, they just bought other studios that had profitable balance sheets to kind of artificially claw their way back into the black. But as we've seen with all of those properties, once Disney gets their hands on it, they just shit on it. Bought Star Wars and gave us Rey, right? They took command of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and once they finished the first run that ended with the reverse of the snap, Avengers Endgame and Avengers, I forget the name of the second one, but the last two Avengers movies were fantastic. And then they started cranking out the more woke, and they've tanked. Now, in fairness to Disney, some of that is just pure superhero fatigue, right? Like, since the year 2000, I think, my birthday is at the beginning of the summertime, and it has just so happened that every year on my birthday, one of the big blockbuster, the summer's big blockbuster comic book action movie hits the theaters. And for a long time, that was my thing. It's my birthday, I'm going to see the new X-Men movie or whatever. In fact, the first one to start that trend was the original X-Men movie. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. Go and be a kid and just enjoy a stupid movie for a minute. It's a lot of fun. But we've had enough. People are getting bored with the superhero movie, and it's and among the reasons, not least of which, are the fact that 50% of them end with a giant light beam from the sky, and I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, predictably following the hero's journey is one thing, but I mean, buy a new special effect. Maybe bring a light beam up from the ground once. Just saying. But anyway, so what we've seen is that the boycotts, all you got to do is not buy their shit. It works. It works enormously well. Whereas conversely, it looks like more and more when the left tries to boycott nowadays because they're on the wrong side of the public. Oh, thank you, Alex McDonald. Oh, oh, thank you, Alex. Yeah, I need to make a Jewish space laser clip to drop every now and then, because that's funny shit right there. But you completely broke my train of thought with that comment, Alex. Where even was I? Okay, space lasers, shitty movies, boycotts. So it looks more and more like essentially the leftist boycotts, because the left has gotten on the wrong side of the public. The leftist boycotts have the Harry Potter effect, right? When I was a kid in high school and the first Harry Potter book came out, I didn't give a shit. I mean, I was reading hard science fiction and serious more serious sword sorcery fantasy, and I was actually reading a lot of Dostoevsky and Aristotle and Descartes at the time, but I mean a shitload of Robert A. Heinlein and Rod Purvis had gotten me turned on to a couple of books like The Anatomy of Power by John Kenneth Galbraith and some stuff like that. So, I could have cared less about what was going on with some silly wizarding book. And then a bunch of people said, oh, it's all witchcraft, it's evil, and we should burn it. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, hold on a minute. Why? And so I read it, and I enjoyed the hell out of the Harry Potter books, and my daughters love the Harry Potter books. But Harry Potter only became as popular as it did to begin with because somebody tried to ban it. Essentially, the popular opinion was on the other side of we don't like this thing. So what we're seeing now is that the popular opinion is on the side of don't try to mutilate our children and sell them to slave traders. When we come to the general election next year, that is what you will be choosing between. You will be choosing between American liberty and prosperity or American taxpayer-backed child sex trafficking. Right? Donald Trump with cheap gas and world peace, or Joe Biden with double all your prices and child sex trafficking. Those are your choices. Cheap gas and world peace, expensive groceries, and child sex slaves. So, good luck. I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it right there. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.